Telling a story is the most important thing that you can learn how to do in your life. When you learn how to tell a story, when you can be a storyteller in every element of your life and tell the stories that benefit you, that benefit the people around you, you can be a catalyst for amazing, amazing things to happen, both in your life and to inspire and empower others to live an even more inspiring life, an even more exciting life than ever before. When is the last time that you told a story? When I first thought about this, I was like, I don't really tell stories that much. But you have to realize that telling a story is something that we all do throughout our days, throughout our life. It's just that stories just seem like life to us. It's just our life. So we don't really think about it as a story. We don't really acknowledge the story elements. But when we can look at our life like a segment of a variety of stories all compiled into this life experience that we're living, and we can sift through those and choose the stories that we want to tell, the stories that can be a benefit to those around us, and we can learn how to tell those stories with clarity and confidence, then we become the stories we tell, and we make it so that other people can see what we are trying to communicate in our life, what we are doing in our life, what we are communicating to them. And this is so important because when you can take the gems of your life, when you can take those pieces of your life and put it into words that really can touch someone else's life, the impact is tremendous. Have you ever heard a story and just been so intrigued the whole time? For me, this is something that I live for. I love it. I love listening to people's stories. When I read a book or listen to an audible book or listen to a podcast, the thing that I like the most is not that, I mean, I love business and the analytics and hearing about people's success, but the people that tell their story is what really gets me and what really draws me into to a business or to what someone's doing in their life, and to really get people to see your vision and see your purpose in life. And not only that, but to raise them up, to empower them to be their greatest self and to live their greatest life, whether it's someone in your family, some your lover, your friend, or just someone you meet on the street that you're having a conversation with, or someone that you're doing business with, employees or investors, whatever it is, the more that you can tell this story that helps them understand what you are trying to convey, and to not only understand it but connect to it, to feel it in their because when you hear a story you that really is impactful, what it does is it makes something inside of of us really connect to that person, to connect, to put ourselves in to their shoes and to really feel what they're conveying. So when I learned about this, first I learned about it in terms of telling the story of my life experience, telling the story about my life in a way that benefits me. Because every story that we tell in our mind every day, our thoughts, our mind are such a powerful thing. And when we tell the story of how we want our life to be and tell a story of the way that feels the best to us, that tell a story in this way that makes us feel like the person that we want to be, instead of that failure, or telling the story of the things that didn't work out or that are not how you want it to be. You create this life story that is a match to what you want, and your life takes that shape. And so for me, that has really been impactful and helped shape my life, learning how to tell my own story. And now I've been learning about how to tell story in a way that impacts others. And I've realized how passionate I am about this, and how I have all these different stories in my life, that when I can choose the stories and keep an eye out for these stories that will be a benefit for others, then I can really be a powerful leader and empower others to come to this place where they can really live their best life and live their dreams in every way. So telling the story is so impactful, and when I learned this, everything in my life changed, because it shapes your life. Telling your story shapes your life. And when you learn how to tell stories to other people in the right way, in a really clear and confident way, then you help shape their life too. And then when you look at this from the business side, this is how products are sold and services are sold in the most direct way. Like, there's so many different ways that people have learned how to sell, but when you really want to talk to a customer, when you really want to connect with someone, you learn how to tell the story about your product, the story about why you created this product, or the product itself, or the story about why customers love your product. And that's what creates the most impact to others. That's what really gets people to buy your product. So for me, all around, through every part of life, I've seen the benefits of storytelling. And it can bring you, just like it brought me, into such a more empowered place in life by choosing the stories that you tell to yourself. And when we can learn how to tell these stories to others, to pick pieces out of our life and out of our experiences in life, or the things that we've heard, even, it doesn't have to be from your life, but that can be the most impactful sometimes. But when you can choose these stories that make a point of what you're trying to say, that are really clear and concise, then you have tremendous leverage in impacting other people's life. And you can be so beneficial in changing other people's life. And this is what, to me, is really exciting, and what I am moving toward. And now I am so excited to get out there in the world and to choose more stories, to pick out of the stories that I see around me, and to mine my life and mine my world for these stories that will impact others, and to get really clear about how to tell these stories in the best way. And the clarity, I mean practice, to understand it fundamentally, but also to practice it, to start putting this into action in my life. And it's so interesting because stories are, it's something that it feels so natural to me, just it's like part of life. But to really like see it in this story framework, to see that it's this story that can impact your life or others around you in this powerful way, it's like taking a step back and looking at a conversation, or a way, like a connection with someone else, from this up like outside perspective. And that is such a powerful thing to do, because when you have perspective, you can see more than the tunnel vision that you get when you're just there in the experience, because you're looking for the way that that story translates to something way bigger, to something way broader. And there's been so many people in history that have not known how to tell a good story and learned how to tell a good story and made tremendous impact on the world. Some of the greatest leaders and teachers and masters in the world are phenomenal storytellers. And this is what I've realized. And it is exhilarating to be able to have that kind of impact on people. I've been saying impact a lot because it really is, you're creating so much value for people by learning how to tell stories. And it's not just telling any story. It's not about telling a story that's totally off base from what you're trying to convey. It's taking a step back, looking at it from a bigger perspective, and saying, what is the point I'm trying to convey, and what story, even if it's not something that seems like it would have to do with what I'm trying to convey, how does this connect? How do they mean the same thing? And how can I bring those together to connect with the people I'm talking to, and to really be of value in the biggest way that I can? So tell the story of your life how you want it to be, and tell people the stories that help them create the life that they want to live.